We are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Agent Outreach Live. My name is Ryan Zolin. I am super fortunate to have Landry Morby here helping me out with the show. Guys, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you stay till the end because this is a one-of-a-kind show. It's live. There is no script. We are trying our best just to show you guys the ins and outs of Agent Outreach, why this strategy is the best, at least what I think is the best. And then we're calling random markets. So we've got markets that we have for you guys to vote on. We picked out 2 this week that we want you guys to interact in the chat and let us know which market you want to see us call. Aside from that, Landry, what am I missing? How are you doing? It's been a week.
I'm good. Yeah. How about you? How was your traveling?
Traveling was beautiful. East Coast is awesome. We were in Boston and New York hanging out for a little bit. It was a nice little break. Definitely
Awesome.
escaped the heat and saw some baseball.
Oh, I love that. Awesome.
Yeah.
It feels like it's flown by. I feel like it's almost kind of been longer that you've
It
been
definitely feels
on
longer.
because we've, been super
Right.
consistent with this. So we're happy to have you guys on here and just kind of break down what's the benefit of creating relationships with real estate agents as an investor. And if you're a real estate agent, why should you create relationships with investors as well? I think is equally as important. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down for you guys today. Obviously, things are going to be blurred, but if you guys get into the Slack channel, the community, Discord and everything, you guys will be able to get connected and actually see the ins and outs of how this works. But Ryan, why don't you kind of kick it off with why is it beneficial for kind of both sides for anybody that's jumping into this for the first time?
Class is in session. All right. So agent outreach. Why? Well, first off, I'm not going to tell you that direct to seller doesn't work. I'm not going to tell you creative finance doesn't work. I'm not going to tell you fix and flip development, private lending, traditional real estate. It all works. What it comes down to, we talk about like the 3S's a lot, and I've mentioned this on a previous episode, but the first one is survival. A lot of times where people jump to is the third S, which is scaling. What you need to do is first off survive, then it's stability, then it's scaling. The reason we talk about survivability is because it's not really talked about enough. One of the reasons that I started doing education and kind of pushing community and really being an advocate to agent outreach was because it was my saving grace. I tried doing direct to seller marketing. I tried being a traditional agent. The reason most people get into real estate is for freedom and flexibility. What they don't tell you is that it could take you 6 to 12 months to get your first deal. It could take you tens of thousands of dollars in marketing. It could take you 6 to 12 months because of a learning curve trying to do a new process that you've never done before. And then when you start adding in all the things that are stacked against you, I mean, if you don't have at least 6 months of reserves saved up, let alone investing into your business and starting it, I mean, it's kind of hard. So, being a traditional agent, I was showing houses on nights and weekends, and I found that the freedom and flexibility wasn't there, let alone not having clients. So, the infamous catchphrase came to be that I always say the hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client, somebody that is actually willing and able to purchase and sell real estate that is going to employ you to be their realtor. Now, as for being an investor, the hardest part is to find a deal. So if you can understand that the two of those together, being agents and investors, should really be a gap that's bridged, the real question is, why hasn't it been? So what it comes down to is that agents are obviously taught with ethics, morals, and having fiduciary responsibilities to a seller, and they don't know what they don't know in the investment world. And then in return, investors don't understand the agent world because there was no qualification. They watched a couple of YouTube videos like this. They downloaded a contract. They went driving for dollars, maybe skip traced a list, and suddenly your Instagram bio says you're a real estate investor. So, what does that really mean? It means that we're not speaking each other's languages. So, the reason, first off, is obviously that ease and convenience. The second is going to be stability. So, we mentioned survivability. Now, stability, that's going in and being able to live another day in business. The number one rule of small business is to stay in business. Well, the number one rule of real estate is obviously the same, stay in business. And while real estate in the market is extremely cyclical, it's extremely hard to go in and do multiple deals every single month. So what I try to do is really push people to go out there, work with real estate agents and work on market deals because it costs you $0 in marketing. So if it takes you 6, 12, 18 months to get your first deal, hopefully at that point, you're not out tens of thousands of dollars, whether that's into education, into systems and processes, sales skills, or whatever it is that you spent money on. You have got at least time on your side. So that's why I like agent outreach. That's the reason behind it all. And obviously, too, I mean, it could just be a stepping stone. You could go out there, get a couple deals, didn't cost you anything in marketing. And then from there, you could take what you've already got in momentum and money in the bank. And then you could go into creative finance. Then you could go into traditional real estate. Then you could go into commercial real estate, fix and flip, buy and hold development, private lending, whatever it is you choose to do. You have control because you have money in the bank.
So on the agent side of things, can agents make more money with working with investors, and how does
Absolutely.
that work?
Absolutely. So agents, I mean, you're obviously in the category of spending money in marketing because you're out there spending money on Zillow, you're out there spending money on open house signs, you're spending money on basically trying to build a brand to where people are going to, again, be your client. It's the hardest part of your job. Again, similar to open houses. Why do they do it? It's to find more leads. Why? Because the hardest job of being a realtor is to go out there and find more leads and find more clients. So realtors, if you have time, what is it that they always post and flex on the internet? Another offer written. They posted on their story. Oh yeah, another deal closed. How many of us see under contract and closed and you go to their
Yes.
Instagram profile and you see a new listing, you see under contract and sold. You see the same freaking house 3 times. That's not by coincidence. That's not because they only have one well, might be because they only have one deal. The reason is that they're out there trying to promote and market themselves to get more business. So how about you take the equation out, which is one of the other things, the client, and you could go in and plug yourself into being the client. So a lot of times what we teach is the double dip strategy. You can represent yourself as the buyer's agent and actually get a commission on a deal while also getting an assignment fee on the same deal. Now, not to confuse us, but I want to make sure you guys understand that we're not going to go out there and work with listing agents or working with the listing. We're not going direct to seller trying to get a commission and an assignment fee. That's where it gets gray and borderline illegal. What we're
Yeah.
trying to do is going out there and we're going to go and get a commission that was going to be paid by a seller to a buyer's agent regardless. So if it was me or if it was another person that was buying the house to live in as a primary home, the agent on the buyer side is getting a commission paid for by the seller. So why not plug yourself into being that role where you could be the buyer's agent, get that 2-3% commission on top of a 5, 10, 15, $20,000 plus assignment fee. Again, costs you $0 in marketing. You're just doing paperwork.
Love it. I hopefully, and that's helpful for those of you guys, if you're wondering, or if any of you guys are, real estate agents and wondering how it's beneficial to build those relationships with people investing as well. I always, you're always talking about everybody should have multiple tools on their tool belt. So why not? I just feel like you shouldn't limit yourself in any realm of real estate, whether you're an investor, an agent, broker, you name
The
it.
tools on the tool belt's the best way to put it. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, but at the end of the day, I understand, quite frankly, a lot of investors and agents' positions that they're in. And the last year has been really rough. The last year for us, it was tougher, but we still had a phenomenal year. So what that comes down to is exactly what Landry just said. It's all of the different tools on the tool belt. Did all of a sudden I start going and showing a bunch of houses? No. But did I do more traditional real estate than I was before? Yes. Because that means that as opportunities were presented, rather than just saying, I'm okay, I'm doing 40 plus wholesale deals a month, I will take the one buyer client. I will take the one listing over here. I will take the extra $5, $6, $7,000. It's additional income, but it's additional opportunity that leads to more business. So that leads to us feeding people that are at our brokerage, feeding people that are with us at the family tree at Real. That leads to me feeding my team more opportunities and more deals, more transactions for my girlfriend to go out there and do paperwork for. Everybody wins. So opportunities are everywhere. Again, just to recap, we're not out here saying that one strategy is the best. What we are going to say is that this is the best place to start. So if you're in the category of whether you're an agent trying to make your way over to the investor world, or you're an investor even trying to get your first deal, this is the place to start. And again, even if you're in maybe another community, you've tried other strategies and they haven't worked out, why not revert back to this? I mean, I would make the argument all day long that agent outreach and MLS deals are probably one of the sexiest strategies out there right now. The reason being is because it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. So we're fortunate that we have a software like Batch out there that actually makes our life a lot easier. This
Yeah.
is newer, and this is why we started the show, but it's actually in our benefit. There's only been one or two other resources out there, from title companies to a couple other like websites that weren't all that accurate, that would pull data of real estate agents in the past. Now, if you're already using Batch Leads, if you're a Batch Leads customer, or if you're just again tuning in on the first episode, Batch Leads actually has a section called Agent Outreach. It doesn't get any more self-explanatory than this. You go to Agent Outreach. You can click on different filters. We have all this and we could show it. Again, it will be blurred just because of YouTube's compliance issues. But what we can do is we can go out there and we can actually filter out based on state, based on city, by zip code, by volume, whether that's amount that they have currently listed, amount they have sold. We can go and filter this out in a few different ways to then pull and export a bunch of agent information. Now, that's what we do on this show. We're going to call agents in random markets. The way that we're going to show you guys that this could be done anywhere in the country is by giving me random markets to go in. Today, it's between two. I think, Landry, you said it was Baltimore and Fayetteville.
Yeah. North Carolina. So,
I have
and these
not
are off
stepped
of your
foot
guys'
in either of
vote.
these.
I'm
So
excited.
we're going to see. I mean, Guys, I literally have not stepped foot in either of these states. I've actually never even called anybody in North Carolina or in Baltimore. So out of these two markets specific, if I can call agents and get them to be on my side today, why can't you do the same in your market?
Absolutely. I'm excited. Here, let me show you guys how it looks in here. It's so dang simple. Anybody could do it. It's in the lowest plan within Batch Leads. I'll drop a link for you guys as well in the chat. And you guys can benefit from pulling 1,000 seller, buyer, or agent leads within your account in a trial that I'll drop in here in a second. But basically, you go on your Batch Leads account, you go to Agent Outreach in the menu, you go to the search bar. I usually just immediately open up the filters. There's like this tiny little toggle button and all these things that Ryan was just referencing, the location you have to do, but you could look somebody up specifically by their first and last name or their brokerage, active listings, sold listings in a time frame, total sold amount in a time frame, and active listing price. So what I did, I pulled both of these lists for you guys to vote on today, and we'll have you vote here in a second and see where we're going to have Ryan call. But let's say, for example, when I pulled up the list in Fayetteville, I typed out Fayetteville. And what's been working really well, honestly, and I don't want to stray away from this, every time Ryan's able to make awesome connections with agents that are out there actively working and closing listings. So I always put that there's 3 active listings that these agents have to have. Brings us a pretty small and focused list of people that are usually pretty responsive. And then 3 sold listings minimum in the past 6 months. Click search. That's it. And then you get a list like this, which I can't show you guys, but you get the phone number, you get the email, you get their license number, you get their fax number, everything you can think of. You don't have to skip trace them. You just get the info. It's pretty awesome.
And Landry, how many do we get per month?
Like, what do you, oh, I see what you're saying. Every plan's going to be a little bit different. When you guys go into your billing section, you're going to have, I would say, just as a tip, when you're coming in here, save the ones that you have the conversations with, because you guys will get all the info regardless. Save the ones that matter to you. Don't go too crazy with it, because it will count towards like your monthly saving limit in your plan. So keep that in mind, everybody in here. But that's how we go about it when Ryan's calling here, is we only save the ones that he has conversations with. So
For sure. And this, again, does not withhold any information. So you could type it in. You could actually call manually one by one if you wanted to, and then save them like Landry's saying. So we use this for exactly this purpose. We're out there being able to source the agent information, and then we're calling. At the end of the day, I don't know if you guys didn't realize this yet about being real estate investors, but unfortunately, there is no workaround from contacting people. So whether you choose to text them, you choose to call them, ringless voicemail, direct mail, whatever it is, you can go and do that however you choose to. The most important thing just to be aware of is that you obviously have to use this nice little fine and dandy tool. So as long as you're okay using your cell phone and making these calls, the reason that we like this, again, as opposed to direct to seller, is that it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. So we have everything available under this one roof with Batch, and that is what our goal is. We're trying to get agent information, cold call them, tell them we're looking for some help finding some deals, set the expectation. If you're going to try to figure out everything possible that could or couldn't go wrong, you just got to understand that this is not going to be a process where you're going to have it perfected. Even as the days go on, I wish, again, I had a script today, but I'm going to call agents that probably won't answer their phone. I could always call the one agent that is like, absolutely not, there's no deals available, blah, 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 blah. But then you find that one. So you find that one agent that calls you back and says, hey, what about this deal? What about this opportunity? This is where we try to categorize our leads in the according tiers. So in every kind of sales job out there, you're going to have to go in there and do follow-ups. The money's in the follow-up. The odds of us calling an agent and on the very first phone call getting a deal, it's not zero. It's not necessarily even slim. It's just not likely. So if you can understand that the odds are necessarily not in your favor, it truly does just become a numbers game. From direct to seller to MLS to agent outreach, everything is in the numbers. So even underwriting properties, you have to do enough of this, and you have to have enough of your KPIs to be able to go and submit this on a consistent basis. And then from there, the results speak for themselves. So I always tell people transparently, we went from doing about 30 to 40 deals every single month with direct MLS deals and agent outreach. Right now, we're averaging about 10. So 7 to 10 transactions per month. Obviously, we took a pretty big hit and a loss from where we were over the last few years. But in reality, too, how many of you are investors or agents that would love the opportunity to do one deal a month? I know for a fact that agents usually try to base everything that they're doing with their goals around one transaction a month. That's 12 on the year. You know, the average agent doesn't do 12 transactions in a year, meaning they're not even doing one deal a month. So 7 to 10 transactions in a month, even if you added an additional one, two, three deals to your bottom line, what would that do to your business? What would that do to your life? What would that do to your future? Understanding that that's what this whole business model is about. It's about consistency. It's consistency and taking imperfect action, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that are out of your control. A lot of agents, again, aren't going to respond, but the ones that do, it's just a matter about having a conversation. There is no fancy script. There is nothing specific that I'm trying to go and accomplish other than building the relationship, providing value, and getting opportunities that are a win-win scenario between me and the agent on the other line. So,
Love it. And wouldn't you say anyway, with having a deal develop with any of these agents that you've had good conversations with, it's going to come later after you've established that line of
my
trust
best deal
and
from agent outreach took 11 months. And I
there
always
you
challenge people too by saying, like, look, would you follow up with somebody for 11 months straight with nothing to show for it?
go.
I know the answer is
Mhm.
probably no. So if that's the biggest differentiator between me and the average investor and average agent, it just means that I follow up. It just means I'm a little bit more organized. The irony about this is that even while you could be the most organized, best system person in the entire world, a lot of stuff with realtors is just front of mind. It's going to be truly based on the relationship and the value that you provided. A lot of people inside agent investors, the things that we teach is to show personality. And it's kind of one of the craziest things to have to teach. It's how do you stand out? If there's 15 of you that all are doing the same thing, trying to accomplish the same thing, what makes you different? There was actually a script that I want to read an example for everyone. I did this earlier inside our family tree call over at Real, but I wanted to share with you guys. This was something that we were trying to lock up. Let's see where it is. Okay. So this was a deal. People were like, okay, Ryan, it needs to be a written offer. It needs to be an LOI. I need a proof of funds. I need all these things. Just chill. What you need is just to understand how the process works and then realize that situationally, every opportunity is going to be different. So there was a deal that popped up yesterday. It was on the MLS at 269. One of the guys on my team came to, brought it to my attention. He was like, hey, dude, I got this deal. I think we need it at like 250. So that's one of those beautiful case scenarios. Day one on market, we're not too far off of list price. We just have the awareness that in Arizona, there's obviously multiple offers. So I said, hey, blank, her first name, this is Ryan Zolin. I just saw your listing go live on blank Boulevard. I was hoping to come in with a cash offer. Not sure if you guys have any offers in currently, but I'd be around 250K cash as is. Now, the reason I presented myself that way to start is that I didn't take the lazy approach and jump right to, hey, can you represent me on both sides and get twice as much commission? A lot of
Mm.
investors mess up this strategy because they jump to that as the resolution. If you can be an agent, obviously this is for licensed agents, and represent yourself, why not? Why would you not take the extra money? I mean, $200,000, 3%, that's $6,000. What if your assignment fee was only 5 grand? You can make double the amount of money you would if you had just gotten a real estate license. So I'm not going to go and tell you all to go get licensed. Obviously, I do think it will help you, and I think that it will be a requirement down the road. But the reason I positioned that to start was because I didn't want to go in there and say, hey, represent both sides. So then
Mhm.
she said, hey there, I have multiple offers right now. There's a range. However, the highest is at list price. Okay. Situational awareness, pivot. Would it be possible to have you or someone on your team represent us to make our offer a little bit more competitive? Or we could even go unrepresented on the buyer side to net the seller more. We're still around the 250 range, maybe 255. I would be willing to do non-refundable earnest money too. She then said, hey, thanks for the quick response. Just called my clients, and this is a unique scenario. 4 siblings inherited the property, so every dollar counts. Even if you were unrepresented, 2.5% commission isn't penciling to bridge the gap between where our highest offer is right now. It's a unique scenario again, and all 4 sellers have to sign the documents that are in negotiations. I can let you know if anything changes. Sounds great. I said, makes sense to me. Also, thank you to you for the quick response. Definitely let me know if anything changes and our offer's still there. She said, will do. Did that take me anything more than 5 minutes? Absolutely not. So a lot of times people get fixated on one transaction and one deal, but it's really not going to be a deal. All you can do is put your best foot forward and let the rest of it just work out however it's supposed to. So I share with that an example. Well, that was even yesterday. It wasn't even a phone call. It wasn't an email. It wasn't a formal document. It was just a text conversation where I'm showing I could communicate properly and, more importantly, efficiently. A lot of times you can't even play the game of does the agent like to talk on the phone or not? Who gives a shit? Just contact them. Whether you choose to text, whether you choose to call. I have friends that started real estate wholesaling where the minute people would call them back, they would send them to voicemail and they'd send them a text saying, hey, I'm in a meeting. Every deal they did was off of text conversation and text threads. Why? Introverts. I don't know. They don't want to talk on the phone. All communication can be done through a text, done through email, and then obviously a courier check to you. That's how you could choose one option. Option two, I have some people, whether you're the older crowd or you're just somebody that prefers to talk on the phone like myself, you're going to go and just pick up the phone and call people. Understanding though, too, you can't beat yourself up if they don't answer. You're just going to like kind of like put a little tally in your notebook and say, I'm that much closer to the next opportunity. That's what this comes down to. And then you find those unicorn VIP agents. The minute you find a VIP agent, they end up being somebody that's not just going to pay you on one transaction. They're going to pay you on a lifetime of deals. We have a number of agents that bring us multiple deals per year. We'll all end up closing 5, 6, 7, even some realtors, 10 deals a year. So if the average realtor does less than 10 transactions in the year to begin with, and I could find one realtor to do 10 deals with in the year, what do you think that does? Not for me, but for them. If they're a realtor that does maybe 10 deals a year and they just did 10 with one client, they just doubled their production off of one relationship. So why would a realtor do this and not be the investor? $1 million question. That's what I'm actually kind of advocating for and trying to push for realtors to do. It's not to take away the business from the investors. It's just to even the playing fields. It's enough is enough where investors have taken advantage of realtors and played games and lied around everything. All these disclosures and requirements and hoops to jump through are actually a good thing. Regulation's not bad. So that's what we're trying to make sure here, that you understand as agents and investors, that you can go out there and actually work together and really just get business done. So
love it. Wow, that was awesome. I hope that you guys find value in this show, and I'm super excited. And I'm excited for you to call some people in markets that, you know, you're not calling in all the time. And I think that really shows, first off, what I'm also just as I'm listening to you, Ryan, it is a really good reminder that there should be no excuse to just make the offer as well. Like with that example, I think that's a great reminder that it doesn't mean that everything's going to get accepted or everything that you make an offer on is going to end up being a deal. But how do you know if you don't make the offer and you don't take
and
the
I
action?
don't lose sleep over it. The amount of times
Great
like
reminder.
I'll start calling people nowadays and I'm like, who am I calling again? What state am I in? Like, where is this? The more you worry about it and overthink it, the less likely you are that you're going to take action. This is not
Yes.
supposed to be something that feels like perfect every single day in, day out. This is something that, again, is imperfect progress. And what we're trying to really accomplish here is progress over perfection. And that's something that Wyatt in our agent investors community always talks about. And I love him for that. He always talks about how this is the journey. And if you're trying to be perfect, you're going to fail. The progress piece of it all, actually, if anything, it should be the most enjoyable. Might be stressful, might be hectic, might even be intimidating. There's a lot of times, and if you're an investor or an entrepreneur and you're not thinking about walking away, odds are you probably haven't done enough yet, because there's plenty of days where the mental challenges are going to be a lot. That's where having the right supporting cast, the right community, and also the confidence in knowing your ability to problem solve, whether it's on your own or with the relationships you have, is on your side. There's plenty of things that are going to happen that are going to be curveballs, but you're going to know how to swing and hit the ball. So with that said, what are our markets? We're doing
Let's
Baltimore or
have you
North Carolina.
guys call, and good to see you on here too, Mike. Let's call, or let's say that put a 1 in the chat if you guys want Ryan to call in Baltimore. So 1 for Baltimore and 2 for Fayetteville, North Carolina. 1 for Baltimore, 2 for North Carolina.
All right.
Let us
And
know what
what's
you
up?
guys want to see.
We got Renee. I look different. I got that nice East Coast glow over here. Just kidding. All right, we got a couple in there for Baltimore. 1 for Baltimore, 2 for North Carolina. What am I calling today?
So far, it's even split, I think.
Keep it going, and we'll give everyone a couple minutes here too.
Okay.
If you guys are finding value in the show, we don't charge for it. We are not trying to withhold any information. We're not even trying to put barriers up for that you'd have to jump through. What we're trying to do is really just provide value, lead from the front, and show you that this strategy is something that you could do from the comfort of your own home, on a beach, wherever you want it to be, as long as you have Wi-Fi, a cell phone, and batch leads providing the list for you. So our goal is for you to be able to follow along. If you have batch leads, make sure you go in there and actually pull the list with us. You wanted to go and do this if this was your market. The goal is to make this as interactive as possible. So the only thing that we are going to charge is going to be by asking you guys to share this episode with a friend, share this with a community, share this with somebody that's out there trying to do agent outreach. I'm not by any means a master of this, but what I could tell you is that over the last few years, we've done millions of dollars in assignment fees, running about on average 80 to 90% profit margin business. So obviously it doesn't cost me much at all. I'm still in the same business and same industry like everybody else, where we're riding the waves, good and bad. But the cool thing about it is that we are still here. So while the market was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of people running around like chickens with their head cut off, I went from 40 deals to 10. It's not sexy, but it's still very profitable, and it's something that I feel confident enough sharing with you guys. So our goal is that we are here to provide, we are here to share, and obviously be as transparent as possible.
Love it.
We got a few here. It looks like Baltimore.
Okay. That's kind of what I was hoping for, because I mean, a lot of people are always wanting Florida. We've called a couple of markets in Florida, like Tampa and Orlando, I think, so far, and we just haven't gone that far over there. So let's do it. I'm going to send it over.
Alrighty. And if you guys wanted to see anything specific, if you have questions, make sure to ask them in the chat. We are here to help out. We will post again in a little bit here the link for the Slack channel and for the Discord channel. We have free coaching calls. We have free community. We have resources like this show here today. The only thing we want from you guys is to put into this what you're looking to get out of it. If you're here just trying to be a fly on the wall, awesome. We're happy to have you here. If you're here trying to take this business serious and try to go and take your life to that next level, or even just go and transition to a new industry, you're in the right place. And obviously, again, my bias is that this is the best place to start because it'll keep you in business. So if you guys have questions or whatever it is that we could do to help you out, please, please, please make sure to comment below.
By the way, guys, once again, we can't show all this stuff, but when you have an agent saved in agent outreach within batch leads, you can manage them right there on, within your account. So as Ryan calls, I make notes. I favorite the ones that he has great conversations with. You can do all this without having to feel like you need to push the agent out somewhere, when you can just have it sit right there, manage the status. You can put things on your calendar in batch leads. So if you're looking for something to make your life easier and not harder, give it a try. And we'd love to hear how it kind of goes for you guys. So I got your back, Ryan, making the notes for you. Hopefully we get some good connections today.
Colin Holly. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm feeling the energy today. She dropped the ball. She missed it. On to the next one. Again, imperfect action. You can leave a voicemail. You could send a text. You could do whatever it is you choose to. What I'm trying to do is just get on as many phone calls as possible to show you guys. Calling Ron.
Hello, this is Grace Belcott with Remax Advantage.
Hey, I think I might have the wrong number. I'm looking for Ron.
Yeah, this is the correct
office. Awesome.
What can I do for you?
Just trying to find an agent that could help me out. I'm looking for an investment property out in Baltimore, and honestly, just not really too familiar with the area. So just trying to find someone that could kind of be of assistance.
Sure. So we work with investors. Our office is right in Baltimore City. Do a lot of work in the area. So where are you based?
I'm based in Arizona. The reason we're looking into other markets is, I'm sure obviously it makes sense, but the market's just crazy. Prices are expensive. Obviously rates have gone up a little bit, but we're trying to expand out into some different markets. We've got some partners and connections out in some other markets, Baltimore being one of them. And so what we're trying to do now is just get a little more familiar with the area and then make an educated decision based on the guidance of what the realtor we work with tells us.
Sure. And so you and your partners, what are your portfolios looking like in other areas?
Sure. Yeah. So in Arizona, we flipped close to 40 homes, got a handful of rentals. We expanded out to Florida, but kind of experienced a little bit of the same where prices just got a little crazy and it was pretty competitive. I don't mind competition, but what we're really looking for is like single family homes and condos. Anything that's like under the 600-ish K price range. Full transparency, we're going to be using hard money if we purchase it, just because trying to come out of pocket as little as possible of our own funds. But then from there, I
Okay.
mean, we do a variety of things. So we've done fix and flips. We have some rentals. We've kind of dabbled into wholesaling a little bit. We've got connections with other buyers. So pretty much anything that comes across our table where it's a deal, we have a solution though where we could go out there and make a deal happen.
Okay. Um, so, I mean, are any of you planning to visit Baltimore at any time?
I wouldn't, but we have a couple of people, I guess you can call them like boots on the ground or whatever, where they can go out there and view the properties for us. We got some like handyman contractors that during an inspection period, if need be, we could have them walk the property. But the goal is that we wouldn't really want to take too much of the realtor's time. If you guys were willing to go out there and walk the property for us, that's always appreciated, but I don't want to be a pain in the ass.
Okay. We would just never advise, purchasing something without seeing in person.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We
There's
would
a
definitely
lot
want
of
somebody to see it.
nuance to Baltimore, and there's a lot of variation from zip code to zip code. From
I'm gonna challenge you guys. What was her name?
Really
I know it.
important to have
I know it. Starts with a G. Put it in the chat.
And when you say single family, do you mean detached or?
I'm honestly not opposed if it was attached to. That's where again, I guess
the row home count stuff.
Yeah,
that's like the primary
sure
type of.
And that doesn't bother me. I guess that's
here.
where having the right agent on our side. You were actually the first person to answer, so I really appreciate that. We're trying to find someone that could tell us like, hey, Ryan, this spot is absolutely a no-go, or hey, Ryan, this spot is going to blow up and I think this is going to be amazing. You should definitely look into this property over there.
Okay. Now, okay, so you say up to 600,000?
Yeah, up to like 600. I mean, even if that's like the after repair value, our sweet spot's kind of realistically anything under 400 just because we get some better rates with our private lenders and hard money lenders. But I always just kind of make the joke that like if the right opportunity popped up, even if it's above that price point, I want you to feel confident that we can perform on it. I could show you any of our past deals and stuff too. Our goal is really just to lead with value and then obviously show that we are who we say we are. And then from there, we could get some deals done together.
Okay. And I'm sorry, tell me your full name again.
Yep. My name is Ryan. It's Ryan. Last name is Zolin. And I'm 99% sure it should be in that entity, but every now and then, I mean, we put them into different entities if that one gets like capped out with a certain amount of properties. Our like LLC group or whatever you want to call them, they just have us like capped at like 3 to 5 properties per LLC.
Right. Okay. 34 holdings, but that's your main one.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Ryan, we have a lot of, investors who call us for, exactly the same thing. So,
sure.
Everybody's looking for.
Now, I don't always advise to go out there and like try to overwhelm them with a bunch of stuff, but this is another solution that if you've built enough rapport with the agent, you could show how you could still be of service to them, even if it's not them bringing deals to you.
Meet with someone here in Baltimore so we can really
sure.
See if it's a good fit. Don't enter into these, things lightly. And we would, if you're going to flip, properties, we would want to be the ones to sell them.
Sure.
We want to be the listing agents for those.
That makes sense.
And if we're helping you, buy some properties that might need a little love or already, rent ready,
sure. Well, and a lot of times too, the other like partners we have, every now and then, like they're kind of crazy. They go and they spend like tens of thousands of dollars a month on marketing and mailers and all that stuff that I'm sure you guys do some stuff similar for traditional. But they come across some opportunities where price just kind of becomes the biggest issue, where their offer is a little too low. So if it would be of value too, I mean, I don't mind having them send over some opportunities and stuff to you guys that could possibly be a listing for you. We don't need anything in return. We're just all about value and seeing if there's a way that we can bring more business to each other.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool.
So then, like, what do you want to do for next steps? Like, who would be like a good person to talk to next? Have some agreements.
Sure. Yeah. So I don't mind signing anything. I always kind of get that question. And like when we were in Florida, we were getting that question a lot. I don't mind signing any agreement. I always just kind of put the disclaimer that it can't be like exclusive to every deal, because every now and then some of those partners will bring me an opportunity that they'll wholesale. And so I can't pay on deals like that the agent didn't bring to us. But anything that you guys bring, we 100% will sign a contract exclusively tying you guys to that deal with us. But we don't have any issue with that. But let me ask you this. I've got a question for you. I know that you mentioned you guys have other investors. What's your process like? Do you guys have like a first dibs kind of like email that goes out, or like a VIP list, or how does that kind of work?
Well, we're kind of developing a few things here. I mean, we're doing a little bit more of this now.
Sure.
So, I mean, I'm not the best person to talk to about all those like
Okay.
nitty gritty kind of details.
Sure.
You know, Ron is the one who handles that. We have a couple agents on the team who work with investors also. So yeah, I mean, there's not a quick answer to that.
No worries.
It really depends on the type of property and who it would be a good fit for. I mean,
Okay.
we work with developers and, you know, builders, contractors, you know, who are looking for a certain thing in a certain neighborhood. So
Sure.
then we, you know,
So
find things for them. And
I don't know if it
yeah.
would make sense then to like maybe just take a note of it, and then maybe ask Ron or run it past him to see what his thoughts were. But the reason I asked was that a lot of times the partners that I mentioned that bring deals that will wholesale deals to us, obviously, as much as I want to say I buy 10 properties, if I get sent 10 properties, it's really realistically that I'll buy like one to two of them. But those 8 that I don't buy, they end up just trying to like wholesale. Maybe there's a way with the investor clients you guys have that we could work together as a team, where whether it's you and me, or you, me, Ron, or however Ron wants to structure that, we could end up wholesaling those deals to maybe some of your buyers. So that way it alleviates them trying to find a deal. We can obviously joint venture on that opportunity, and then everybody wins.
All right. All right.
Cool.
Okay. So Ryan, what's the best email for you?
Yep. So it's going to
Okay, great.
Yep. And the best form of contact is just going to be texting me. I mean, my email kind of got a little backed up, but I can respond to that if anything pops up. But text is usually the best form for me.
Okay. And then, you know, who are your people in Baltimore who we could meet with?
Yep. So we've got a couple of them are just like wholesalers. A few of them are, I don't know if he develops or if he just fix and flips, but I can get you the contacts of them. One of them is in a community that I'm into, so I'd be more than happy to send over their contact information. But let me confirm with them before I send that over.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I will follow up with you after this call then,
Awesome.
with a text message from my cell phone.
Perfect.
As well as my email, and yeah.
And your name was it was Grace, right?
My name is Grace. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Grace. I really appreciate your time.
Of course. Thanks for the call, Ryan. We'll see what we can do.
Thanks. All right. That's the episode, guys. See you guys next week. Peace out.
That was an awesome call. Yeah. Okay. So she works for Ron. Okay. That's what
works on Ron's team. She was saying that they're newer to the investor world. The few things that I took away was that she mentioned they have investors they work with. We got to the bottom of what that process looks like. I was like, well, do you guys have VIP agents or buyers, or what does that process look like? I was asking the right questions. On top of that, I mean, again, not that I advise going and throwing like 3 different right hook punches there. I was like, all right, well, send me deals. I will bring buyers or I'll bring my deals from other investors and other wholesalers to the table that we could bring to their buyers. And then on top of that, she asked about the listing. I see the question from Paul here. Great question. Do you commit to the triple dip? Not always. In this case, because the likelihood of me going out there and doing business in Baltimore is slim. Sure, if they bring me an opportunity, I think it's a fair turnaround that whoever we wholesale it to, as long as they're not a licensed agent, we could justify getting a listing. Now, the out to that question is that if they were to ask and I didn't want to commit to it, whether I'm a licensed agent or I know another agent that would be willing to do it for cheaper, I would just be honest. I would say, hey, look, my friend's uncle's fish's dog's tree is a realtor and they are going to list this property for me for nothing. So unless you're willing to do that for the same amount, I cannot work with you exclusively. The other question that they usually ask is, can you sign an agreement? A lot of people get worried about that. A buyer broker agreement, just so you know, is what actually ties and protects the realtor to working with you. Why? Because a lot of times buyers suck. The hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client. You want to know what the most frustrating thing is? You spend $700 on a Zillow lead that registers at 2 a.m., sets off your phone. They end up going and you work with them for 7 months. You show them houses every single weekend. And maybe they're qualified, maybe they're not. Hopefully they are. You're doing it right. But then they end up and they walk into an open house and they sign a contract with the person that's sitting in the open house. You know what you get out of that deal? Zero. You get literally nothing out of that deal. So you end up spending hundreds of hours, years of gray hairs are appearing out of nowhere from just 6 months of dealing with the world's most nightmare client in the world, and the audacity for them to go into another open house. You know whose real problem it is and who's at fault? It's the realtor. I might get canceled for that. I don't care. The realtor's at fault because they didn't set the expectations accordingly. So again, understanding the realtor world is just as important as understanding the investor world. Realtors need to do a better job of setting expectations, qualifying out their clients, and setting the expectation as to what the process is going to look like. So in this case, all I did was ask the right questions. They want the listing? Sure. If you bring me a deal and I wholesale it and the end buyer is willing to list it with them, okay. Doesn't hurt to ask. I'm not going to go overcommit and overpromise, but in this case, it just is what it was. So we asked for deals. We asked what their process is with their other investors to possibly wholesale deals to them. And on top of that, they asked about listings, and I said maybe. But by the way, I have a lot of investors that go direct to seller. If they find an opportunity that could be listed, do you want it? Why would they say no? The hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client. That's why she asked for the business. That's why she asked for the listing on the back end. It's not to go and help me out. It's to go make more money. It's to put their nice little listing sign out front of an empty house that just got remodeled, because those are the best houses to sit as an open house and the best houses to go and list on the MLS. You know what the hardest house to list on the MLS is? The hoarders, the people that have lived in the house, the people that are contingent upon selling that listing to go and buy another one. Those are not what you want to do as a realtor. So instead, if you can get the beautiful house that's remodeled in the city with your sign out front, that's marketing. Why? Because the hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client. So that's the whole goal here. Obviously, again, that was one phone call. It's pretty good. 2 phone calls total. One person answered. 1 for 1 for people that have answered.
And by the way, where'd it go? Elizabeth is asking what's triple dip or triple dip.
Yeah, so what they're referring to, triple dip is kind of weird because like it's not really a thing, but like what Paul was referring to is basically they want the listing side commission from the agent. They want to get paid whether it's an assignment fee or they're going to get some kind of compensation from profit. And then they're also going to get the listing on the back end. Where again, it gets gray is that we're not teaching people to go and wholesale a deal where they're representing the seller and getting an assignment fee. So I don't really necessarily use triple dip unless for whatever reason you are going in there getting the buy side commission, you are getting an assignment fee, and you were getting the listing on the back end. But if you're listing it on the back end, it was your flip, odds are you're probably not charging anything more than 1 point to yourself. Or if it was one of your partners, JV partners, another end buyer you were listing it for, you're probably still getting 1 point. So the triple dip, it kind of is gray. But I would always say the double dip is where the real money's made. You can go and you can get in a deal where, I mean, some of the deals we were doing was $700,000, 3% commission, 21 grand commission coming to us, plus a 30 grand assignment fee. We were walking away with $51,000 on one deal for doing paperwork. Never touched it. Didn't have to use any of our own money. No credit, no qualifying, cash as is, quick close. End buyer wins. They're happy. And then obviously if we could list it for them on the back end, that'd be great. But we make our money up front.
And Alfie is asking if you really have boots in Baltimore, which I loved how you answered because I don't think you do.
I do not.
Do you?
No.
Okay. I was like, yeah.
Absolutely
but I like
not.
how you answered that. What happens now as well where just like, hey, let me confirm with them, like they're in the community. You didn't have to stumble. You know, there's
I wasn't going out there saying, "Oh yeah, Bob."
Yeah, I know. I was almost like, are you gonna call out a name and be like, oh, Jeffrey? Yeah, that's the guy.
No, I honestly,
you know?
a lot of this it is improv, but it's situational. Because did I lie? No. Can I go and find somebody? I didn't even need to find somebody. Somebody found me that's watching this. So who was it? It was Robin, or who was it? Alfie.
Are you talking about? Alfie. Yeah, that was Alfie's question.
Alfie, congrats, dude. Yeah, you're in Baltimore. Please hit me up after this. Message me in Discord, and any conversation that we have here, I will send you over that agent's number. Congratulations, you're my boots on the ground, and any deal you get in Baltimore, it's all you. I want nothing to do with it. We're not JVing the deal. You take it. I just want a nice little, hey, this worked. That's all I want.
Oh wait, no, it's Robin. Robin is in.
Okay,
yeah,
Robin goes to you. Whoever else is in Baltimore, I don't mind if there's multiple people. I will rotate every single realtor we talk to. Robin, you take the first one. Whoever's in Baltimore can take the second. Our whole goal here is really just to show you guys again collaboration, leading from the front, and also I don't have an ego. I do pretty well with all the other deals we do. I say that hopefully without any kind of like ego or arrogance tone, but I want you guys to know we do well with what we do in this strategy. So if I can give aside any opportunity like this, that agent I just teed up, I put the ball on the tee. You've got the club in your hand. You just got to swing. That's it. So cool.
Oh, and I see Paul's comment, kind of like the way he views triple dip. So
Yeah, so he said, I think of a triple dip as an agent bringing me their seller or listing, writing my offer, and then I fix and flip, stage it, and relist it with them. So that technically is still a double dip because I mean, I guess unless you're talking about them getting a dual agency, they'd get the listing side commission and the buy side commission and listing it. Where I will tell you that there's a lot of times that brokerages actually don't love that because if they brought that deal to the buyer and the buyer's listing with them afterwards, the agent opens themselves up to liability because they got paid 3 times. They got paid
Mm.
seller, they got paid for the buy side commission, and they got paid to list it on the back end again with whoever the investor is that flipped it. So, and I see another question from Paul. How do you structure the sharing of assignment fees? What is the right situation for this? Again, no ego. So if somebody brings the deal to you, the situational awareness is that if it's a listing agent that has a signed listing contract, they legally, and just to make sure I'm very clear, they legally cannot get an assignment fee and a commission paid to them by the seller. What that opens up as a lawsuit or any kind of like litigation is that they represented with fiduciary to their seller, their client that they have contract signed with, that they were going to do the highest and best offer on the table. They were going to do everything that was in their best situation. And then they're going to make additional money on an upcharge fee. That shows kind of a gray area of fiduciary. So we are not
Oh.
representing anything with the seller and getting an assignment fee. However, we are going to be able to get a commission on the buy side commission and an assignment fee. So in this case, going back to what Paul's asking, is that if the agent was to bring me a deal, my first question isn't what's the price? It's not asking for the link to the photos. It's not asking to the access to the house. It's, hey, do you have a signed listing contract on this? But you have to word it in a way where you're not going to come across like you're trying to step on their toes or go around them. You're going to say, hey, so just curious, are you getting commission on this? That's a nice way of asking, do you have a signed listing contract? Because if they're getting commission, let them take the commission, you take the assignment fee. Now, where an assignment fee would come into that scenario, maybe you don't have a buyer. Maybe you rely on a disposition wholesaler. Maybe you rely on Grace and Ron's team to bring in one of their investor buyers. At that point, whatever it is that they would bring in as a buyer that could commit to the deal, split your assignment fee. That's the no ego. So whoever it is that's bringing value to the equation is when you should be willing to cut into whatever it is that your projected profit was going to be. So very often where a JV comes in is that either the person that brought it to you needs help selling it. So they make a 10K assignment, the acquisition person, you guys split it 5 and 5. Or you have a deal on your table, you don't have a buyer, somebody else does, you split whatever it is that they can make 5 and 5. Now, obviously, too, another solution you could do is you could always go to whoever your disposition wholesaler is, say, this is the price I'm asking for. Anything they sell above that is what ends up being their assignment fee. So there's a million different ways that you could do this. It's all situational. It just depends on what the best solution is for the seller. So
Thanks for breaking that down, Ryan. I think that's super valuable insight. And at the end of the day, to benefit and help out the seller in their situation and get.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. And having a license too, I do have to follow a code of ethics. Now, granted, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Ryan, I want you to take this house for $1, as long as they are in the right headspace and there's no like issue that would pop up that I force them to do it. Yeah. I mean, I'll buy a house for $1 as long as that's what they're looking for.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
all specific to the seller. And again, I always joke and say sometimes I have more fiduciary to the seller than their realtor does, but that's because I don't need the deal. I want the deal. If you're out here acting like you need the deals, no, you need a job. You need a job that's going to bring you income because that's what you need. You need to pay your bills. You want the deals. You want the opportunities. You want to wholesale. When you start saying you need it, it becomes a different game.
Love it. Super. Okay. Gosh, this is great. Great episode. If you guys are enjoying today's episode, put a 1 in the chat. Who are you calling, Ryan?
Honestly, I don't know. Chevelle.
Is it Chevelle?
Yeah. Paul, if
Monument Sotheby's International Realty.
Hi, I'm not sure if I have the right number. I'm looking for Chevelle.
Let me look her up and I can transfer you.
No worries. Actually, I think that this might have just happened how it was supposed to. You guys, do you work at the office? Do you work with other realtors?
Yes, I sit at the front desk, but I work in marketing.
Sure. Is there anybody there that's in the office right now that would be like a recommendation for you to transfer me to? The number I was given was probably just an office number for a reason, like I said. So whoever it is that would answer the phone that works with investors, I would love to talk to.
That works with investors?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a house out in Baltimore and just could use some assistance.
Okay, yeah. Let me put you on hold real quick.
Cool.
And I'll find out.
Thanks. So, Paul, what you could do is if, let's say, an agent brought the deal to you that was going to represent you as a buyer's agent because you're not licensed. Hi, I'm not sure who I'm speaking with. I just got transferred over.
No, yeah, it's still me.
Okay.
Sorry. Can I actually get your information, though, and I'll shoot an email out and get somebody to reach out to you?
Sure. Is there any way possible to just send my cell? I'm going to be heading into a meeting in about 10 minutes. My email just gets a little backed up. I don't mind if I give you the email. It's just, it might be easier communication-wise with my cell.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Do you have it or do you need me to read it off?
You can just read it off.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Bye.
So receptionist, got it. It's all good. Where I was going, Paul, with that is that let's say an agent brought you a deal. You're not a licensed agent, so this person's going to represent you in the transaction. Now, obviously, again, I've got very good relationships with the agents that bring me deals where sometimes it may be in my best interest to actually not have them represent me, but they have an agreement in place where they know whatever I make, I'll split with them down the middle. So in that case, I would go to the listing agent with their permission. They would represent both sides, or I'd go unrepresented to get the deal done. Or the alternative best case scenario for the agent that brought me the deal, they represent me as the buyer's agent, meaning the seller pays them a commission to represent me, which they would do to anybody that is the buyer and the buyer's agent. They would pay my buyer's agent commission. Out of my assignment fee, I might take a little bit of a gut punch, but if I'm going to make $20K and they say, hey, can we split that? I might come back and say, well, wait, it's a $300,000 house at 3%. You're making $9K already. How about I give you an additional $5K? So then they walk away with, what is that, $14,000? Well, then your assignment fee is $15,000. So they got a commission, they got an assignment fee, and then also if you did fix and flip it and then they listed on the back end, that would be another triple dip scenario. So that is an alternative option. Alrighty.
Megan.
Let's do it. If anybody's buying creative seller financing in Baltimore, he's got a deal. He'll send it to me in Discord. I will gladly share it with you guys if he's okay with it. JV the deal.
Hello. You reached the voicemail of Megan Richardson.
Megan. She just lost some money. Let's try and recall Matthew.
Okay.
Gotta get one more good call here. Calling Andrew.
Okay.
Andrew's got my money.
Thank you for calling Berkshire Hathaway Home Sale Realty Canton office. We are unable to take your call.
Ooh, Andrew.
Hello. We can help you find another business.
No, I ain't doing that right now. I don't got time for that.
Sean.
Yeah, we're on to Sean. You know, Sean's always one of those interesting names. It could be spelled like 5 different ways.
Yeah, right.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
This is apparently the wrong one. Just kidding. Call him Bill.
Maybe Sean's in a busy meeting. He's going to call you back.
Bill Magruder.
Hey, Bill. My name is Ryan. I'm calling. I'm out of state. I'm in Arizona, but I'm trying to find an agent out in Baltimore. I'm not sure if I got the right number.
Okay. I'm an agent in Baltimore.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to purchase a property. I'm sure you get a bunch of these messages and calls and stuff. I'm trying to be a little bit different. That's why I called. But we're based in Arizona. We've fixed and flipped a bunch of houses out here. We've got some rentals and stuff, but we're really just trying to expand out to a different market. And we've got all the pieces out in Baltimore except for a realtor. And so not being in that area, I'm not too familiar of what the best opportunities are and what they look like, but I was hoping to connect with a realtor like yourself that could kind of point me in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, just you need to know it's a tight game around here because
I'm
you
sure.
and everybody else
I'm sure. Yeah.
is playing a game. I mean, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, everybody who watches some TV show, they're playing it, and it's pushing the prices up, and it's hard.
Sure. I guess like I'm not scared to play ball. We could put up some like aggressive terms, like where I could put up non-refundable earnest money. I don't need an inspection period or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
that's child. You're preaching in the choir. Everybody's doing that.
okay, gotcha.
You know, everybody, and the problem is and listen, I'm happy to see what I can come up with for you, but
it's good conversation here to end it.
Can you find something to buy? Sure. But you got to be able to make money on it because there's no purpose.
No, for sure. So I guess, what do you think like the resolution is? Because again, trying to get familiar with the area a little bit. Do you think that like it makes sense maybe to look into a different market?
You know, I want some of these little, amateurs to drop out.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me about it. And I think that it will. I mean, I think there's going to be regulation.
I've been doing this 40 years.
Sure.
They're going to drop out because some of them are going to get caught with their pants down. And they're going to lose some money.
Absolutely. We saw that happen with a lot of fix and flippers out here where you could tell that they were a one-trick pony and then they were over leveraged, and suddenly everyone's, repositioning, selling off a bunch of their assets and liquidating things to just catch up on bills. So
you really have to know what you're doing too. So
I agree. And at the end of the day, I mean, I feel pretty confident and pride ourselves in our work with what our quality is with fix and flips and stuff like that. We're just expanding out to some other markets based solely on the price points. It's not really even the competitiveness. I don't mind playing in that field. It's just a matter of finding the right opportunity with the right people. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm not sure what you would recommend or what the best step is.
I mean, what are you looking to pay, and then what is your kind of
model? Yep, sure. So yeah, we could buy like up to 600, 700-ish thousand. Full transparency, I use hard money. I just try to come out of pocket as little as possible with my own. We have private investors that could fund the rehab if needed. We could close in as soon as I did one a couple weeks ago. It was like 2-day close. It was a bit stressful, but we ideally would like at least like 10 to 14 days to close. If I could walk the property before, that would be ideal. Aside from that, renovations, I prefer nothing like full gut job or like fire burn properties. I've gotten, no pun intended, but burned from those in the past. So I'm just trying to go in there, cosmetic, anything lipstick, carpet, paint, cabinets. If there's a big ticket item like a roof or an AC, we can handle that, but that's about to the extent that I would feel comfortable.
Yeah, so I mean, around here to get to really the grandma special that you're looking for right now, the homeowner who's got the uncle who is sopping that up.
Yep.
I mean, that's how tight we are. We're not.
Sure.
I mean, that's how I always used to buy a house. Yep. I would buy, a house filled with cigarette smoke and, but get it scrubbed, do a good paint job, maybe do a kitchen mechanically in good shape. You're going to have a hard time here. And I'm not being negative.
No, for sure, dude. I really appreciate the transparency.
You're because like I work with some flippers here locally, and they'll do down and dirty. I mean, I'm working with a guy now, and he bought something for 195. He's probably going to put 150.
What does this mean?
He
means that he's got other investors.
Profit margin, but he gutted it to the studs. There was mold, there was everything.
Okay.
And he's getting it to the studs.
So like when those deals pop up, are you like finding those on market or those like pocket listings?
Depends. That one was not that was actually one of my best friends who died.
Oh wow.
That just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Sure.
But everybody, sometimes today I wrote a contract on something. That's 129. We went in at 138, and we're gonna.
Sure.
We may get it. We may not.
Sure.
But he's not even really hard money. He's gonna pay cash.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes he does hard money, but I said, give me proof of funds.
What's his name? Bill.
Pay cash.
Bill.
Gotcha. Well, okay. So I guess let me ask you this. I have a few people that we're connected with that I'm pretty sure they just wholesale, but they've been sending me a bunch of stuff, and it doesn't seem like it's something I'd be interested in. I'm not sure if it would be value or not, but it sounds like you've got some investors that are willing to go a little bit deeper on reno than what I can. Maybe we could present that over to them, and if there's any way we could like work together on something like that, do you think that would be a value or an option on the table?
Sure. I mean, my guys are pretty picky, and a lot of this wholesale stuff they get is nothing but garbage.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of the same.
Every day I get emails about wholesale stuff, and it's
off-market special, price reduced.
Yeah. And you're starting to see price reduced. Oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah, right.
No shit.
Right.
So I mean, you feel free to send me anything you want, but
honestly, I don't have the high expectation. I just want to be a value and don't waste your time as we're trying out different markets.
You can send it to me. I mean, but I get that. I get every day. I get tons of stuff, and a lot of it's garbage.
Perfect. Okay. Well, you know what? I appreciate that perspective. I'm gonna save your number in my phone, and then if at any point anything pops up, feel free to send it over, and then I'll do the same likewise too. So that way, hopefully, we can come to finance some deals together.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Thanks, Bill. Bye. All right. Not the best call.
I still think, it kind of
calmed him down. If I was in Baltimore, Bill would be a guy that I would feel very comfortable going and talking to. I know he might have sounded a little scary and big bad wolf type energy, but like, you got to remember, what did this guy say? 40 years. Okay. So God bless Bill's heart. Okay. Like if anybody were to be on here and tell me I want to be a realtor, good for you. Like I wish you the best with that. And I'm sure you could be a very good realtor. Where I think realtors play the game wrong is that they're not investors. They're just agents. And if you're an agent, you're at the mercy of, he answered his phone call after 40 years to be in this business that long. You have to answer your phone call like that. But what it comes down to is that he's stuck. He's in a rat race. He's playing in the hamster wheel where he's not going to win because he's at the beg and mercy of a client. So that's why he wasn't too aggressive. But if you did hear what he said, he's like, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. He's right. Yeah. He is right. He's telling us non-refundable earnest money and no inspection period is the norm. So what am I going to do to stand out? I'm going to provide more value. Hey, dude, I get a bunch of wholesalers that send me stuff. Can I send it to you and see if any of your buyers that are willing to do a bigger renovation than what I would want? Do you think they'd be interested? He was like, I doubt it'd be anything. I'm like, hey, man, I'm not saying it's going to be anything pretty, but I'm saying it's an opportunity you don't have to pay for. He doesn't have to go and pay for that lead. He didn't have to pay for my phone call. That's the kind of stuff that's a win-win situation to where Bill was able to knock down the walls a little bit and he was willing to understand where I'm coming from. And it was a win-win. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't the greatest conversation. It wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. But you want to know what the irony is? He's actually probably the smartest realtor we talked to today. He's the best conversation we've had because one, he actually is a realtor. Two, the receptionists, while they're awesome, they only know what they can see. They can only see sometimes the checks that are going out. They can only see who walks in the doors and who walks out the doors. They can only see who has listings on social media. That's it. So for us to get connected with a guy like Bill, he's actually probably one of the best resources that I could find today on this live call. So,
gosh, I thought that was a great call, especially in comparison to a lot of the other conversations that you're having with people. And I still think that was valuable insight in terms of how people are viewing the market as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, I even asked him, I was like, should I go to a different market?
Yeah.
No, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just letting you, why would he say that? If there was no deals, wouldn't he just make sense to say like, no, yeah, go to another market? Why would a realtor tell me not to go to another market? Because the hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client.
Yeah. And that relationship's already building. So I just feel like, who knows, Bill could be one of those people that it takes 11 months for him to send you over something that ends up being an awesome deal. But I don't know. I just think that.
And look at that. His friend died in that one situation while that was super heartbreaking. His friend died and he gave the deal to somebody else. He's not an investor. His friend passed away. And and I'm not trying to talk shit, but rather than taking on his friend's legacy and being a problem solver, offering a solution to where he could purchase it for a good enough deal, what he was concerned about as a realtor is making sure he got a commission on a deal. That was it. So yes, it could take 7, 8, 9, 10 plus months to get a deal. But what do you think would happen when Bill brings a deal to you and it's an off-market opportunity that you end up making a $40,000 assignment that you double close? The only thing I would challenge you to do is maybe throw Bill an extra 5, 10K and say, hey, thank you. I appreciate you. That's the kind of stuff that we show about building a relationship and taking it the extra mile. Where I want to end this with today is just making sure you guys know I called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 realtors. How many conversations was it? 4? 3?
Yeah, 4.
4 conversations and 9 calls. I don't want to hear that realtors don't answer the phone. I don't want to hear you can't hit your KPIs. I was taking my time and making sure to mute the phone while instructing and educating while I'm doing this. But also, too, 4 conversations in less than an hour. Taking my time, I would make the strong argument you could get 5 to 10 conversations per hour. The biggest thing you need to have awareness of is what value can you provide and pivot to on the phone call with them. Stop worrying about getting a deal ASAP. The only thing that you need to add in that I didn't do today is that you need to set the expectation. Hey, look, not to be this guy, but I really need to find a deal in 30 days or less. Do you think you could help me out? We're coming up on the best time of the year where the excuse or the reason that you need to purchase a house is to offset taxes. So if we're coming up on the end of the year, every single person here should have a quota that you need to hit in order to make whoever it is, a business partner, a financial partner, your spouse happy. Whatever your reasoning is, you need to purchase a house in the next 30 days. Can they help you? Yes or no? That's what we're trying to show. 9 conversations, 4 phone calls. I feel like 2 or 3 of them were phenomenal. One of them was just but 3 phenomenal phone calls with agents that are willing to help us and basically do what we need. So that's what it comes down to. We appreciate you guys. Ran a little bit over today, but we will see you guys next week. I'm back in town, rocking and rolling. Let me drop really fast our Discord link, and then that's
Grab this one too.
Yeah. Scroll down there. We got batchleads.io/Zolin. Make sure you guys get a free trial for Batch Leads. You can also follow along and do this with us. You could export lists of agents. It is this one right here, Landry, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, let's see.
Go to
the community one.
Make sure to click here, join the Slack, and then lastly, agentinvestors.com/Discord. If you guys have any questions, we do free coaching every single day in there every morning, ran by people inside of Agent Investors. Super awesome. It's super collaborative. I actually guarantee you there's people in there right now that are watching this live or making calls live to agents. So I don't want to hear excuses. I want you guys to go out there and take action, and we will see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a great week. Peace out.